When I first went into business, I had no idea about KPIs and, what things cost and what the bottom line was. That was all new to me. We have a 5-star rating and it just takes one bad Google review to, bring that down for you. No one's going to walk into business and be perfect, day one. It all comes with experience and venturing and having those broken days. You're not going to be able to please everybody. So if you're pleased within yourself and your morals and your goals, then business will work out for you.
Welcome to Not the Rob Bell Podcast, where we talk with business owners, marketers, and professionals to extract what makes people and businesses successful.
Hey everyone, and thanks for tuning in to Not the Rob Bell Podcast. Today's guest, I've got Amanda Kassis-Page, founder and salon director at Intouch Hair Creations. We talk about building one of the best salons in West Gosford and the Central Coast, managing a team through a pandemic, building customer loyalty, and so much more. It's coming up now. Amanda Kassis-Page, thank you so much for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you for having me.
So you are owner and salon director at Intouch Hair down in West Gosford, and your team down there are responsible for my fantastic, good-looking hair today. I just wanted to learn a little bit around how long you've been in business at Intouch Hair and how that even came about to start with.
Yeah. So I've been a hairdresser now for 16 years and I've been down at Riverside for Intouch Hair Creations for the last, coming up to 10 years in September. We have 9 girls that work at the salon, including a beautician as well in the back room there. And yeah.
Amazing. And so obviously you didn't start out with 9 girls working for you. Can you give us a bit of a trip down memory lane and how it all kind of kicked off?
So I had just come back from Canada. I lived and worked over there for a year, not doing hairdressing, just did a snowboarding season. And
good thing to do in Canada.
Yeah, of course. And came back and I was just running past the new West Gosford Riverside complex that was, starting out there. And I saw a shop vacant and I was in two minds of whether I get back into hairdressing or start a new career, but I just didn't know what that new career was. And when I ran past, I saw a shop vacancy available. So I went home to my parents and I, told them the idea and they were like, absolutely, we'll support you, we'll help you. So 25 years of age, I signed my first shop lease. Amazing. And I was there for 8 years. And I started off with me, a full-time senior and an apprentice in 2013, I think it was. And and then expanded from there. So fast forwarding 8 years on, I have now moved premises next door where we purchased our own premises and grown the business to 9 staff now.
That's amazing. Yeah. And the new premises does look absolutely fantastic. And, And that move was undertaken through the throes of COVID as well, I understand.
So obviously we had to shut through the first COVID and we thought, why not just do the renovation now and move premises because we were closed. So we had 8 weeks where we were shut in that first COVID period and we did the new reno, new fit out, hired some new staff. Everything was new. Everything was fresh. Everyone thought I was crazy thinking, what are you doing opening, a new premises in a pandemic and we're closed and but it actually paid off. So then we reopened, because that first pandemic the first wave of COVID wasn't, as big or as scary. Operated for the first year and then obviously the second closure happened, which was 6 months. That was a long 6 months being closed, but grateful for the move and grateful that I was able to keep all 9 staff on through COVID. We did a lot through the lockdown. We did these take-home hair kits, which were accessible to all our clients. The girls did lots of YouTube tutorials, so our socials stayed, alive and we stayed connecting with our customers. So I actually really enjoyed the lockdown. It was nice to do something different and not be in salon all the time and, just have that bit more of a balance of family life and then stepping out and branching out into something different, those home hair care kits and the YouTube tutorials were fun.
It definitely seems like it would have been, and so the take-home care kits, take-home hair kits.
Yeah.
it seems a little bit like restaurants turning to takeaway.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there a business mindset behind that, or was that really just trying to keep things flowing and moving to some extent?
Look, it was definitely just to stay connected with our customers. You know, we see our clients every 4, 5 or 6 weeks. They come for their regular hair appointments. And so, you know, I had to step out of the box and think, how can I provide them with something they can do at home, saving them turning to the supermarket stuff. One, for the fact that it would just make more work for me and my team when they came back for us to fix their hair.
Sure.
And 2, I just wanted them to have that same salon hair quality at home in their own environment. So, you know, for the tint kits, what we did was custom made their own tint kits with the formulas that we use in the salon. They came and picked them up, a bit like click and collect. And then they went home. They logged onto the portal where I was demonstrating how to do them. So I did like a how-to at home for them, took them through step by step, and then they were able to colour their own hair at home. And then everyone, I think, really appreciated, you know, how hard it is to actually colour hair, especially doing it on yourself. So, yeah, it was good fun.
So it sounds like it's been a really good exercise in sort of continuing that loyalty that your customers have to your salon and your brand. Is that really what you would attribute your success over the last 10 plus years to being, and how do you sort of foster that in the long term?
Absolutely. Like without like our clients, we would not be, you know, still trading business. So I'm super grateful for their loyalty, like, you know, in purchasing those kits. But I also think my clients are grateful that I stepped out of the box and came up with this idea to make those home hair kits, because they really did appreciate, 1, that they were able to feel good through COVID, 2, that they still had that connection with us and the team, and then 3, like, you know, obviously a little bit of income helped as well. So, yeah. It was really good.
No, it's amazing. And so obviously brand or customer loyalty is a huge part of your business. And, you know, in 2022, we're all sort of spending a lot more time online. And one good and bad aspect of online behaviour is online reviews. And, you know, we see sort of a love-hate relationship with online reviews. And I'm really keen to understand your thoughts around anything that you sort of see as a positive and a negative from that being such a big part of the online ecosystem. Does it sort of help you? Does it hinder you? Does it just cause you a bit of a headache?
We have such a good following and a positive following, I would say. We don't get much criticism or any bad negativity, you know, comments or shares or anything like that. I definitely enjoy the way, I guess, social media is going, because 1, it's a great tool for marketing. Also, it's a great way for customers to see what we're doing, how we're doing things, and also it saves, you know, the receptionist on the phone all the time as well, because you can do so much with online. So we've now got like online booking system. You can cancel and create your appointments that way. You can see any news that we have. You know, we've steered away from, you know, now doing marketing via emails and things like that. Everything's just done via social media and Instagram and Facebook. So it's definitely been a great tool. It's definitely been a positive tool.
And how do you really kind of keep that engagement flowing from a social aspect? I know, you know, Facebook and Instagram, you've got thousands of users. Yeah. You know, do you sort of really strategize the sort of content you're putting out?
We have a media marketer, and she definitely helps create our content and the market that we are trying to target towards too. So we do things like daily posts, posting at the same time each day, keeping the content consistent, you know, not venturing out from what we are. We are a hair salon. Yeah. Not getting too personal either. I think keeps it professional. Yeah.
No, it sounds good. I think, you know, there's a lot of talk in the industry around, you know, the lack of digitisation by small business. You know, do you think that embracing the technology and social media in particular has helped accelerate your growth and keep that consistent?
Yeah, absolutely. Like we get way more views and clicks through Instagram and Facebook versus our like website or through Google clicks and things like that. So yeah, definitely.
No, it's interesting. One thing that I'm curious to understand is obviously, you know, the marketing is working and the social following is drawing people in. But when it comes to, say, managing your team.
Yeah.
And then any small business will probably agree that that's the biggest headache of running a business. And particularly for someone running a hair salon, you don't only need someone who can cut hair, you need someone who can hold a conversation and be personable as well.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that when you're looking to bring someone into the team?
Yeah, I've been really lucky. So the 6 girls that I have now working for me have been my apprentices. So they started off with me at a young age. So I guess, we've helped mold and educate them into, what they need to be an Intouch hair creations girl, whether that's personality, whether that's the way they present themselves, things like that. So that's been quite easy, I guess, because they've come at a young age and they've just learned and molded the way we run things. We only have maybe 2 girls that have come from an outside salon, and they've definitely adapted to our philosophies and the way we like to do things and the service we provide. So it's been an easy step, I guess, into creating that, because they've just come in and stepped into our philosophy.
Sounds like it's sort of, a bit of a progression over time. And is there ever a circumstance where it doesn't kind of pan out and you have to make those tough business calls?
Look, I guess with every business there's definitely been those, times where you're thinking, what are we doing? What have we done? But I guess they feel that on their end as well. So obviously they might come in and go, you know what, this isn't for me. This isn't what I've signed up to do. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm not comfortable here. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things that we learn to manage over time with business.
It's a business thing. I think that's what every business owner is, their first complaint or their first moan is, staffing's always the hardest, whether to get them in, to sustain them, to keep them happy. There's just, so many emotions that go with staffing.
And merely for my own curiosity, we've seen hospitality really shift and struggle with managing people and there's a huge shortage of people in hospitality at the moment. Is there anything like that playing across? Yeah,
there really is. Like, we would love to take on more apprentices, but there's just no one wanting to apply, no one wanting to, put in the hard yards of a 4-year apprenticeship, to get to become a senior or to become qualified as a hairdresser. I think this generation just definitely wants everything yesterday. They want it to be quick and short and sharp, and, they want to be on the floor cutting straight away. But, they've got to, start at the bottom like we all have. When I first started, I think I washed hair for 2.5 years before I even got to hold a comb or a brush, It's just a part of the role.
And do you think that kind of that long road in sort of set you up better to run the business now?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I definitely thank my first employee for that, that him having patience with me and me having the patience to stick it out as well, because it wasn't easy. It was definitely hard and repetitive. And, that whole stigma with being an apprentice, it's true. It's hard. You're at the base and you're sweeping hair. You're making coffees for the first 2 years. You're not actually a hairdresser. Yeah.
And so speaking of making coffees, every time I walk into the salon, I'm always offered a coffee or a beer or a whatever, and it's really part of that experience of Intouch Hair Creations. And how do you sort of formulate where that line is between the good customer experience and trying not to over include in that experience that takes away from the business model that you're operating?
Well, do you ever overindulge? It's at Intouch, it's about that experience as well as providing a good hair service. We want the whole experience to be nice, from, as you said, the moment you walk in to the greeting, to being sat down, to being offered a tea or coffee. I want it to feel like when you come in, it's like you're home. If I invited you into my house, I would offer you a tea or a coffee, and, I would show you my place, and then, I would make you feel comfortable. And that's the whole point and the whole experience of Intouch. I want everyone to feel comfortable. And, people sometimes get anxiety about going to a hairdresser. They feel like, oh, they're judging me, or they're looking at me, or am I going to be charged too much, or, all those things cross people's mind. But if you can take all that, away in the beginning, in the first 2 minutes of coming into the salon by being greeted and making you feel at home, all that goes away, right?
Yeah, of course. And do you think that leads ultimately to a better customer return rate in the long term?
Yeah, absolutely. We rarely do new clients because our retention rate is so high because people just love that experience. They love the consistency. They love that every time you come, you're offered the same beverage, you're offered the same service, even the basin experience, that same massage, you know what to expect and it's nothing less, right?
Yeah, I can attest to that.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So a little bit of an oddball question that I'm very curious about, mainly because not many industries can answer this, but I'm really curious to know, there's a few reality TV shows around hairstyling and hairdressing. A few names that I've seen is Tabitha Takes Over and Sheer Genius, which I think she actually came out of.
Yeah.
Is it strange looking at shows like that from within the industry and sort of comparing what does and doesn't correlate to the real world?
No, it's pretty all real. I reckon what Tabitha has done, absolutely, it's real. Yeah.
So are we maybe going to see the next reality TV show coming out of
It's
Intouch?
funny you say that. My husband says it all the time to me. He's always like, you need to do a reality TV show in Intouch Hair Creations. I said, I don't know if my clients would be up for that.
I think the interesting thing there is that, most of those, or especially the Tabitha show, is it's looking for something broken to try and fix it.
Yeah.
But is there sort of a strange way that you could apply that lens to your own salon as a sanity check process to sort of look for ways that you could improve or things that you can improve? Or do you think you've got it nailed and you've already come out the other side of the show?
Yeah, I feel like I've come out the other side now. Maybe, 5 years ago, absolutely. There was a lot of broken things in my salon that needed to be fixed. But I think that just comes with age and experience. No one's going to walk into business and be perfect, day one. It all comes with experience and venturing and having those broken days. You don't get better without broken days, for sure.
Absolutely. And so many small business owners have a support network, whether it's family members, whether it's mentors, something like that. Do you have that support network in your life?
I have two very good support networks. One is my mum, which you have met. She's our receptionist. She's my babysitter. She's my everything. So she definitely helps me personally and the business in many ways that I, can't describe to anyone unless you've met her and you've seen her and what she does for me and the business and the girls.
Yep.
And two, it's funny, when I first went into business, I had no idea about business. I was just good at hair. So I wanted to just cut hair. Had no idea about KPIs and, what things cost and what the bottom line was. That was all new to me. So a client came to me and said, do you have a business coach? And I was like, what's that? I have no idea what you're talking about. And she goes, I'd love to introduce you to someone. So his name is Troy Marchant in Gosford, and he has been my business mentor the whole time. So pretty much coming up to 10 years. And he has guided me in, personal stuff and in business stuff. And definitely without him and his mentorship, I would definitely not be successful.
No, it sounds like you definitely need someone like that in your corner.
You definitely do. And it wasn't, as I said to you, you just don't know until someone opens your eyes to it. I was just like, I don't need a business coach. I've got this. And then when I met with him and the questions he was asking me, I was just like, oh, you need to know that and you need to do that. And so it was great to have his guidance for the last, I definitely would have said I've used him heavily for the first 5 years of business.
Yep.
And then sort of, progressed on my own from there.
Checked in.
Yeah.
And so I'll probably put you a little bit on the spot, but if there was sort of one, the most profound thing that you can take away from that external counsel, can you put it down to one thing that you sort of, experience every day?
Yeah. If you're not happy within yourself, the business isn't going to work. So I think it stems from the business owner and what their goals and what their values are, because you're not going to be able to please everybody. So if you're pleased within yourself and your morals and your goals, then business will work out for you. Yeah.
Interesting. I'm curious to get your opinion, sort of applying that to a customer lens and, taking a sort of a poor customer feedback experience because regardless of the business, they're always going to happen.
Yeah.
And where do you sort of figure out how to manage that, whether the customer's not right for your business or whether it's a genuine concern and something that you have to address? Do you have a bit of a process there?
Yeah. So we had one the other day, a Google review. It we have a 5-star rating and it just takes one bad Google review to, bring that down for you. And when it does happen, it actually is quite a shock. It's happened 3 times in the 10 years, and it is a very big shock because I do rate our salon on service. And, so generally the process of that is we will respond, to the bad Google review in a nice manner, and then follow up with a phone call or an email, because I really would love to know what was the bad experience. People might go, oh, we waited too long, or, things like that. But, we're all humans. We all make mistakes. We all, we're an appointment-based system. So sometimes we do run late. We just can't help that. There is that little bit of a process. And, generally it can be something so simple. And it's actually really nice feedback for me. I never dismiss it. I always want to know. I always want to know what was wrong. What was that bad experience? Or what did you find we could have done better?
Yeah, and so I guess you're not starting with the keyboard bashing of attacking the review and acknowledge and kind of work from there.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to know, obviously you've had extraordinary growth and success over the last 10 plus years. Is there a sort of a next step for what you're looking to do? Do you see yourself branching out with additional locations, or, this is the goal and you just really want to continue honing that?
That's the $1 million question. I am at the stage of business where I'm like, yep, that's ticked. Intouch Hair Creations has been ticked. What is next? I don't know yet. I'm definitely brainstorming. I'm mapping it out. I definitely want something else. I don't know what that is, but I definitely am looking to venture out, whether that is a second salon, whether that I do love the training aspect of hair, whether I do put together some sort of training educational thing for young apprentices. I'm not sure what that is yet, but I'm definitely at that cross path where I don't know where, how, or who, what's next.
Thinking about next steps, just not sure which.
But not.
Do you see an opportunity for capitalising further on what you did through the pandemic with product lines and that kind of thing?
It's funny you say that. Yes, I have been looking at producing my own product. I'm just in the midst of chatting to people and seeing how that's possible, because those home hair kits were a success. So if we can provide a, that salon quality home hair experience again, because people are still getting COVID. People still want hair care kits. People still can't come into the salon because they potentially have COVID or they've missed their hair appointment or, all those types of things. So,
No, we definitely are, keen to see what happens and definitely be watching this space. We're about to wrap up, but where can people find out more about your salon and make an appointment?
Our website, www.intouchhaircreations.com.au, or our Instagram account, which is intouch_hair. And
Amazing. Amanda Kassis-Page, it's been a blast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's been fun.
Well, there you have it. But I have a little favour to ask. Why not like it, share it, or even leave us a review? It helps us to show more of this content to people just like you.